This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Welcome back to the Research Talks, the first here of 2025, and of course, Alan Green is back with us. Alan, how are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you, Mark. Hope you had a good Christmas.
Yes, indeed, very good Christmas. Yes, 2 weeks in the UK. All the family were around. Yeah, very nice. How about yourself?
Yeah, it was good. We've got some, we had some issues in the family, which I think we've discussed, but it's we're sort of pushing into the new year and looking forward to a much better 2025. But Christmas was good. Nice Christmas spent with the family. So yeah, can't complain.
Good. Well, let's hope indeed 2025 is better than 24. Of course, we did cover a few of these sort of thoughts, didn't we, towards the podcast at the end of the year. And there was another podcast I did, and the mood was very similar. 23 was tough. 24, it carried on, and those kind of scratches of 23 became perhaps more cuts or battle wounds. So hopefully we don't start losing limbs in 2025. Yeah, and we actually start to repair some of it. I mean, of course, the good thing is, whether you like him or not, Trump is, of course, coming in next week, and regardless, that's going to create change, isn't it? And I think, if we get nothing else, a bit of a change of the guard, I think is probably welcome. So we shall see how the markets perform. But yeah, indeed, like you, hoping for a much better 25 than 24.
Indeed.
So let's start off, Alan. So we've got Silver Bullet Mines, coming out of course, Canada. And, of course, they have got into production of silver.
They have indeed. And I have to say the team have done so well to progress and get the company into production. And I saw in the interview that you did with Peter Clausey that they are just, the company is all about selling silver. So they make their money from selling silver, and that's absolutely the focus of the company. But I was really pleased to see as well, because I think with the best will in the world, the website they've used hitherto to bring the business to investors hasn't been the best, but they've just put up a new website I've seen, which is absolutely superb. Really explains the investment proposition very well indeed. And I've been going through this, and everything you need is literally on the front page. So I'm sure
yes, there we are. I'm glad you pointed that out, Alan, because yes, their website was in dire need of an update. That's a lot nicer.
I think that's an understatement. Actually, it needed to be rebuilt from the ground up, and that's what they've done. So if you scroll down, there's a great map which just shows really what the company is about. And as we've said, Mark, they're a TSX listed company, a Canada listed company. The shares have traded within a range. They've traded as high on the year as 17 cents and as low as 7 cents on the year, currently trading at 12 cents. And that is, of course, where they've just raised $500,000 Canadian dollars worth of financing. There's more to come. And of course, this is being invested into developing the assets that they have. Company's currently got a market capitalization of 8.6 million Canadian dollars. The three primary assets the company has, of course, they started out with the assets in Arizona. This is the Buckeye mine, which is in the middle of a real sort of really fertile area for mining. You've got the Freeport McMoran copper and gold mine, the Miami mine, the Resolution copper mine. These are all nearby to the Buckeye mine, and this is what Silver Bullet Mining have put back into production. Added to this, they've secured a third revenue stream by leasing the property, which is also known as the Super Champ mine. And it's in as I say, a hugely fertile area where production has been underway for well, hundreds of years, in fact, in one way, shape, or form. But they also have an asset up in Idaho, which they've just announced some progress on in November, and I'll come to the developments over the past few months shortly. But this is the Washington mine, which is a former producing gold mine. At the time they were producing gold, they bypassed the silver veins that were there on display due to the low silver prices. But obviously, with silver now very much in focus in this new clean energy world that we're living in, that there's been a refocus on that, and a great opportunity for Peter Clausley and the team to actually get into production and get this processing. Now, this is, of course, all produced through the mill, which is based in or close to the Buckeye mine. So the company went through a process last year of bringing the mill into operation. It was a stage by stage process, but the company has now got the mill into production, and what they've seen from processing the ore from the Buckeye mine to now processing the ore from the Super Champ mine is that the ore from the mines is very different, and they require a slightly different milling process. So the mill was halted for a while in order the company could put those changes into place and implement the changes. So in September last year, there was an agreement signed to process high-grade mineralized material from this old silver mine, or the Super Champ mine, and the company basically did an initial run from 200 pounds of test material, and that proved very successful. In fact, in October, a 500 pound sample was discovered, which chimed in at 19.2 ounces per ton of silver. The concentrate that was produced from that was pretty impressive, and also I think the key thing was that because Silver Bullet have their own processing and test facility on site. Of course, it's very easy to use your own test facility and declare numbers, but alongside that, they used an independent lab test, which actually came back with better grades than their own internal lab, which is very encouraging, and I think is a really strong tick in the box for the Silver Bullet team. But they had further luck in November as they were undergoing the testing. They intercepted one of the old historical mining tunnels from earlier works at Super Champ. They also intercepted the shaft and further waste piles, which the company said or stated was a pretty spectacular find. They took random samples from the waste piles that were there, ranging from 135.8 ounces of silver, which equates to something like 4,200 grams per ton of silver. The second sample was 137 ounces. Third sample was over 1,000 ounces of silver. That equates to 33,044 grams per ton silver. I mean, that's right off the scale. That's incredible. And another one, which was even better, at 1,093 ounces of silver, which equates to 34,000 grams per ton of silver. So the company continued sampling at that point to expose the vein. In December, it announced that, of course, with the samples now identified as high as the levels declared, they were making the changes to the mill, and they intended to start processing 50 tons a day of Super Champ ore. Added to this, they are implementing an exploration program to map out the Super Champ mine. So this is mapping out for further exploration on top of the ore the ore location that they're currently sampling. They've identified further locations, and they're going to explore these in detail in the winter of this year. But it's worth having a look at the interview that you undertook with Peter, Mark, because I think if investors want to get an idea of how easy it is to extract the ore. Again, some of the mines that go into production, they sound great on the face of it, but then when you get into the production process, it's a long way underground, or it's difficult to access it. With Super Champ, you're literally backing a digger up and you're scraping it off the surface, and you're taking the ore to the mill to process. I mean, that's, when you've got a production process that's as simple and as low cost as that, it's easy for investors to then understand, what an exciting investment opportunity this is. It's a really simple process, and that's really key. If you understand mining, you'll understand that the simple process, the simple solutions are the best ones. So I mentioned the company also raised money. So they've closed out a half £500,000. They're going to be raising further money too, and they will be implementing a drill program that some of that funding will go towards at Superchamp in the next 6 to 9 months. So very exciting stuff at the mill, at Superchamp, and of course Buckeye. But also in November, the company announced that it had commenced mining with a miner that was contracted to do the job at its Washington mine in Idaho. Now they're initially targeting the target zone. They could probably think of a better name for that, but it's the target zone nonetheless. But it is an historical test area from the 1980s. And from this historical test area, Hecla Mining ran 44 ounces of silver, and which equated to 0.1 ounce of silver per ton, which is a fairly modest number. But through the work they're going to be undertaking here, they're aiming for a bulk sample of 2,000 tons. But also they're going to connect new workings with old Washington gold material, and will later seek to gain access to a parallel structure known as the Burger vein, which is if you remember, I mentioned just now the silver veins that were seen but ignored while the company was mining for gold because of the low silver price. So they've also discovered another high-grade gold and silver zone there, which will undergo further exploration, and this will take place with the contract mine that the company has hired to do it. But at the end of the day, with silver bullet mines, the investment proposition is based around selling silver, and this is what the company are doing. They have their own mill, so that silver is being processed, the silver is being processed, and it's then being sold. You'll see there are silver door bars illustrated on the website that have been produced already from Buckeye and from Superchamp. So this is a company that's now in production. It's earning money from silver, and right at the start of the year, they've raised money. They're in a very exciting position, and I think they offer great value at the current 12 cents share price, which compares. It's absolutely on the money with the money that was recently placed or recently raised at the same level.
Indeed, and Peter's been saying it all along: get into silver production, get it sold, get the check in, and I think that's the next bit of news that the market can certainly be waiting to expect. So, great stuff, and good to see a new website there. It seems definitely like Silver Bullet are. I think perhaps 2024, but the last year. So confused what years we're in, but 2024, the last year was perhaps a year for Silver Bullet to really start to deliver on what they wanted to deliver prior to, of course, the COVID, which has been spoken about before, putting a few things on slowing things down a bit, and 2025 setting up nicely now to be the year that's for Silver Bullet, really. So thank you, Alan, for giving us your take on that, and I'm sure we'll be talking a lot to the team at Silver Bullet Mines throughout the course of this year as they indeed progress and get those sort of sales away and get the check in, and then of course the further projects they can invest that money into. But thank you, Alan. So now as we go from silver mining to different, but still very topical at the moment, of course, there's AI and Priority AI, who listed just before the end of the year, didn't they, I think, on the LSE?
Well, they did, yeah. In actual fact, it was scheduled, I think, for the first quarter of 2025, but they actually went earlier than they expected. Of course, it was basically a reverse takeover into what was then the cash shell. Alteration Earth, of course, was the old company, and the aggregate transaction combined came to 12.5 million, with 10 million to Priority shareholders and 2.5 million to the residual Alteration Earth shareholders. So of course Priority have got the 80% interest going forward, and they listed on the main market and transferred straight away onto AIM. So the EPIC code, of course, is Pri0r1. Now there are many companies in this space, of course, and I think AI is such a nebulous subject. It's where do you begin to harness the technology, and how can you make it work in practical terms in the world day to day? And I've looked at a lot of these companies. I think Priority AI actually have the most rational and practical way of bringing AI into the market, and bringing AI into companies and selling it as a service. So they have created an AI-driven powered software as a service solution to help businesses at various stages of the journey, by offering them an opportunity to use AI and create efficiency within the company. So their service is based around a deep learning data architecture and AI models, and they are selling this as a monthly subscription service. But you're not locked in for huge amounts of time. So if you want to take it on and just get the business going for 3 months, and you can sign up for 3 months and take a break. So you can basically mold the service and the model to suit you, to suit your cash flow, to suit your business. And I think this is an excellent way of approaching it. I think they've got the model absolutely bang on here. So they built a digital agent for various business processes. It's driven by what they refer to as Priority Advisor, which is a bespoke AI-powered advisory bot. Uses deep learning, can engage with investors, customers, and stakeholders via the website, via instant messenger, or of course email. And of course, all the data that's collated from each company, from each business, from each interaction, basically enriches the language model and builds. They're going to build through this what they refer to as community interest maps, which will in turn go on to power content creation and support services for different businesses. So the great thing is, if you're in a business which is similar to a client of Priority AI's, then the work that Priority are doing with that customer means that their engine is learning about the business. So when it comes to you, they will already have a very deep knowledge of the business. So of course, this is how AI works, by assimilating data and taking on data and working through issues and problems. So to date, they've got 4 different product lines that they're involved in: corporate governance and financing, brand management, and marketing, all driven by their custom AI bot, which is built specifically for each model. And of course, it's basically an AI toolbox for SMEs. And I've seen various interviews with the team. Of course, you've got James Sheehan, CEO, Dan G, also involved as the founder of the business, one of the founders. And Dan G, I think he said when we spoke to him, it's a bit like a doctor diagnosing ongoing challenges. And it's a moving feast. No 2 challenges presented by a business are ever the same. So Priority AI is learning on the job, if you like. But it's doing a very efficient way to do it, and also it's a very efficient way for businesses to integrate AI into their model through the subscription service offered by Priority. So the journey for Priority, it's taken them just about 2 years to bring the product to market. that they've got potentially 650 customers. They can break even with 50 customers. So they're sorry, no, I misread that. They've got 50, just over 50 customers currently. Their break even point is 650 customers, but their acquisition rate is really accelerating since the IPO. They've obviously raised money sort of within the move or the RTO into the market listing, and they're now very well placed. They've just launched an online investor presentation on site, which is very intuitive, very informative, and further helps investors get to grips and understand the model that drives Priority. But I think the company is set for a very bright 2025, and I expect rapid progress from this company too. They're not going to stand still. So, given where we are currently, I mean, the company came in, of course, at I believe just over 12p. So we're currently trading back at 11p. The shares have been as low as 9p. So I think it offers excellent value. Now it's listed at the current 11p price.
Rapid progress indeed. I would definitely echo that, Alan. I think that's what we're going to definitely see from this AI company here, with a product, like you say, that's ready to go, and we've got clear metrics there on how they work and how the business model is set up. So indeed, now that they've got that listing away, there's no excuse, and I do think we'll see rapid progress. Lots of development from Priority AI. But thank you very much, Alan, for your time as always, and we'll catch up again next week.
Thanks, Mark. Speak next week.
Well, joining us again this week is, of course, Dan Flynn on the Research Talks here. Dan, how are you doing? How was your Christmas break?
That was really good. Thanks, Mark. Happy New Year.
Good.
Yeah,
Happy New Year as well. Yeah. New Year. Let's see what it brings. Hopefully it's a good one for, at least the sort of riskier assets, I would say. Crypto, of course, Trump's getting inaugurated in about a week or so. So that'll certainly it'll certainly be a big change anyway, which is better than the same old.
Exactly. Where it goes, we'll see, won't we? But he certainly promised a lot of things. So we'll have to see how that affects equities in the US and around the world.
Indeed. But today you're going to talk to us about Great Southern Copper, who are regulars on Stockbox. Of course, the CEO, Sam Garrett, there, going out to site a fair bit as well. And from what I remember from Great Southern, they have a lot of different styles of deposits over in Chile.
Yeah.
And of course, they had some pretty good news to start the year off, really. So over to you, really. Tell us your sort of take on that recent news, and of course, Great Southern as a general investment proposition.
Yeah, absolutely. So earlier this week, Great Southern announced that it started drilling at its Cerro Negro prospect in Chile. So this is one of the priority targets. It's a Specularita project over which it has the option to acquire full ownership. So there's quite a bit of technical detail in the announcement. So I thought I'd run through why the results, when they come out, could be significant. So a decent amount of work historically has been completed at the high-grade Mostaza mine, which sits on Cerro Negro. And this is what's got Great Southern so interested. Mostaza historically produced more than 17,000 tons of ore with an average grade of 1.25% copper, 77 grams a ton silver, and 0.5 grams a ton gold. More recently, assay results from historical drill holes, along with samples, were used to create a non-JORC compliant mineral resource estimate of 190,600 tons of measured indicated sulfide ore at 1.2% copper, 80 grams a ton silver, and 0.45 grams a ton gold. Sorry, there's a lot of numbers there, but I think the key point is Great Southern thinks this could just be the start. Okay. Because its review of historical drilling determined high-grade copper-silver mineralization, so that's above 1% copper, is open in all directions at Mostaza. And its recent geological mapping and sampling has already confirmed that mineralization extends up to 1.5 kilometers along trend to the south of the historic open pit mine at the project, up to grades of 4.64% copper. So that's a promising start. Yeah, that's like you say, that's very high. So Great Southern believes it can better define the scope of high-grade mineralization offer at the mine by, testing beyond where historic drilling and mining has taken place. And that's exactly what they're doing now. So it will drill up to 10 diamond holes to confirm the historically reported grades and the thickness of mineralization, infill mineralization between two lenses of high grade that were targeted historically, and test the extension of mineralization at previously untested depths, and in untested areas along trend of known mineralization. So this work's been supported by the proceeds of Great Southern's financing, which took place in November. And the first hole's already underway. It's confirming historic grades of up to 8 meters of 2.6% copper and 153 grams a ton silver from 37 meters. So that's pretty decent.
Okay, it is.
I think what's important is it started. So we know Great Southern isn't hanging around to get this done, and it could have a significant impact on the company's valuation potentially. So Great Southern struggled to gain much consistent momentum since it listed. As a holder myself, I can testify to that. It currently sits at 1.5p with a market cap of £7.7 million. It listed at 5p back in 2021. So while it's unlikely that the company's going to jump straight back to that IPO price and beyond, I mean, that would require it to multiply value several times over. What proving a much larger area of high-grade mineralization at Cerro Negro would likely do is start to generate some interest. After all, it will almost certainly increase interest in the projects among third parties who might want to buy it. New reserves of copper, as we have often discussed, in particularly high demand, and Chile is a proven stable jurisdiction in which to develop a mine. So in this sense, the results of this drilling program, when they come out, stand to offer Great Southern a strong foundation for building its valuation, I think.
And so they're drilling now. They're drilling that campaign now.
That's right. They've started the first hole. I'm not sure how long it's going to take. First of 10, yeah. So, I imagine it will take a month or two.
Yeah. I'm not sure. It's a question we can certainly ask Sam Garrett if we can get him on an interview, because that's significant that they've started. I mean, that's a great way to start the year with the diamond drilling campaign there, 10 holes. And I mean, those grades, 4% copper, that is almost unheard of these days, isn't it? You're normally looking, it's less than 1 anyway, isn't it? As what you tend to see these days.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is a big opportunity that seems to have completely fallen by the wayside, as is often the case with these historical projects. They were mined back in the day using the technology that was available, but it was a lot harder. It was a lot more time consuming and more expensive to get the same amount done as it is today. So I think Great Southern's capitalizing on that. And what I think, if it can get results it wants, if it can prove that this high grade copper extends beyond the historic mine, that foundation then provides an opportunity for the company to build further interest for a variety of different ways. So first, assuming it's successful, like I say, it can increase the size of the Mostaza resource and bring it to JORC standards. And that's what investors and potential buyers of the asset really want to see. And something I haven't touched on yet is, as well as the high grade potential, Great Southern's work at Mostaza has also showed that 16 historical holes were terminated at a cut-off grade of 0.1% copper. So that indicates that historic work completely ignored Mostaza's potential for lower grade resources. So in its RNS this week, Great Southern said that by using a lower cut-off grade than that employed by historic miners, it could upscale the size of the deposit further. Let's not forget that the cut-off grade is the minimum required in order for a mineral to be economically mined. And like I touched on earlier, more efficient modern mining methods mean that these can be lower than they once were. So depending on what it learns about the mineral system at Mostaza, Great Southern said it plans to employ scout RC drilling to test the potential for a broader zone of near surface oxide copper mineralization further to the south of the main pit. And if it turns out it offers the potential for high tonnage, low grade operations, along with that high grade potential, it's only going to make it all the more valuable.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and just on the cut-off grade there, so that's the minimum, the cut-off grade, when we talk about that with companies, it's the minimum grade required to make the operation economically, viable.
Yeah, my understanding is that basically if they hit anything below whatever the cut-off grade is, it's too low. The cost of getting it out would be too high versus the value of the mineral that's actually being extracted.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. Good. So that's happening right now then. So, I mean, and you say you've actually been a shareholder since IPO, was it?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So, I mean, my hope is that, the company's on the cusp of learning a great deal about two projects, actually. So there's Cerro Negro at Especularita. Sorry if I pronounced that
I think I say
incorrectly.
Especularita, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But there's also another one called Viuda, which is also part of
Specularita.
Yep, that one. That's the one. And in its announcement this week, Great Southern reported that it's completed RC drilling campaign at that prospect, and has identified porphyry type alteration in all 7 of its holes. It's waiting for assays, but if these can confirm the presence and potential scale of the untested copper, gold, silver porphyry system, the company believes it's identified. So it's going to be another string to its bow.
Yeah.
And if we can see a bit of an uptick in the sector, and all of these, the fair wind blowing in Great Southern's way on all of these things, and lots of good news, then as a holder, I hope that can start to really generate some interest and some buying.
Well, yes, indeed. Let's hope so. I mean, when we talk about, 10% today. This is of course Friday the 10th that we're recording this. So the market's obviously liking what it's seeing so far, and they're doing what an exploration company needs to do, aren't they? They're getting out and they are drilling out the projects here. And I know we did a special feature. Would encourage anyone who's looking at Grits in the Copper to go back and Stockbox YouTube there. It was about 6 months ago, I think, sort of back maybe in the summer of last year. We did a deep dive special feature on Great Southern there, looking at exactly what they've got and where they plan to drill. And yeah, they've got a lot of different style of deposits there, including porphyries, IRGS, skarn type deposits as well. So they've got a lot of different deposits there, which, as you sort of mentioned, if they can get and prove that extension of the mineralization there, different project areas, different deposit types could indeed attract the interest of other operators, for example, or perhaps majors who might want to take it. But they've got a lot of scope, effectively, and clearly there is mineralization there. It's not like they're stabbing in the dark. So now it's about, as you say, proving that up, really, proving the extent of it. And waving the flag effectively. So I would say, from my point of view, I think Great Southern doing the right thing. They've got best stage of a company in the mining space at the minute with the exploration program. Of course, that's what investors in this space do it for that sort of those drill results, that treasure hunting. So presumably the first quarter is going to be fairly active, I would say, and possibly transformational for the company.
Yeah, I mean, those Viuda results will presumably be coming in fairly soon, the assays, and then there's the drilling campaign at Mostaza. So there's 2 sets of results that we can expect over the coming months.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you very much, Dan, for your time. Good talking about Great Southern Copper, so we can speak again next week.
Yeah, just before I go, there's one other company that I'd just like to quickly touch on that's moving from Aquis to the LSC on Monday. It's called Vinance.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, I'll cover the company in depth in the near future with you, Mark. I know you're speaking to them, and it would be good to hear more from them in your interview with them before I go into the company at any length. But
Yeah.
in short, Binance is a pure play Bitcoin miner. It doesn't own its own data centers. Instead, it operates through partnerships with third-party providers across North America to reduce overheads. So as of its first half-year report at the end of May, it had 13.85 Bitcoin in its inventory. So 100,000 a Bitcoin, which is a little bit above what it is trading at the moment. That's $1.4 million. Since then, the firm's been steadily growing its mining capacity, and given the time that's since passed, along with the upgrades to its equipment it's been making and the increase in scale, that inventory's likely increased significantly. One estimate I saw said 24. So with this treasury of crypto building, I think Binance offers an interesting alternative way to play the crypto boom. The company's already seen its share price increase from 3.5p to 15.75p since it listed. Its market's 38 million. And the listing on larger markets stands to improve its liquidity and facilitate institutional investment. That demand for crypto is still there and perhaps might increase as we get the Trump administration in. So it'll be interesting to see whether the company's valuation continues on an upward trend.
Wouldn't it? It
Yeah,
would.
exactly.
And I mean, I noticed actually Michael Saylor did a tweet that David Lenegas actually retweeted. This before Christmas here. And it was his top, 20 or 30 Bitcoin crypto companies, and Binance is right at the bottom of the list, but it was there, and that was the only United Kingdom listed company. And
well, that's great. That's great.
I was thinking about this the
publicity.
other day. Thinking of the companies that we work with here at Stockbox and what Bitcoin companies or crypto companies, there aren't many. And in terms of Bitcoin miners, I'd possibly say Binance is pretty much your only option in London. And yet to make it onto Michael Saylor's list, I say albeit at the bottom, but surely that's where you want to look, at the bottom, because that's the upside will be already baked in, some of the ones in the top 10. So yeah, that I thought was really good. And of course, moving to the LSE, that'll definitely increase the liquidity there. And I think David is going to be on the balcony next week. So yeah, for sure, we'll be talking to him on Stockbox, and then we can cover Binance next week on Research Talks.
Yeah, sounds great. Look forward to researching it more and seeing how it performs in its first week of trading.
Well, thank you, Dan, for your time as always.
Cheers, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like, or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.